Okay, we're going to demonstrate a little command automation using the container service and XNAT 177. This type of command automation actually works on most instances of XNAT 1.7, depends on which version of container service and which version of XNAT you're running. This is the latest released version of XNAT 1 in the 1.7 line, and the version of container service that goes along with that. So first I'm going to log in as an admin, because admins have to do the work of setting up these command automations for project owners. And I can go into the administer plugin settings and look for the command automation tab. And let's add a new automation here. So as an admin, I have access to these settings for every project. We can go ahead and add this to the Nifty processing project on scan archive, and this run command menu is now going to populate with every command known to XNAT, and the highlighted ones are the ones that can be run at the scan level. But what it's not doing is checking to see which of these commands have been enabled at the project level, which is not very smart. But this automation panel really was a temporary measure, a bridge to the highfalutin plans that we had for the event service, which I will finally be able to demo for you. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and set up the DICOM to Nifty scan execution for this project. And you can see that worked, so good. Now I will go ahead and log out and log in as the project owner. And we'll go to our project settings. So you can see that I do have the DICOM to Nifty on and scan command enabled in this project, which is good. That's what we want to run. But it could have been confusing if the admin had set up an automation for a command that was not enabled in this project. If that does happen, it's not a big deal. I mean, it won't run. So maybe that's not what you expect, but it's up to the project owner to enable these commands in order to make these automations work. And project owners can see what automations are active in their project in this panel. They can't edit them, but they can at least activate their commands accordingly. So with that automation in place, we can go ahead and upload an image session and try that out. Select our Nifty processing project, get the file that we want, and we'll choose an MR here. Okay, so that's going as a background process, which is good. And once the process is in the background here, we can actually go about our business. That process continues without our needing to monitor it. That's one of the nice things that was introduced in XNAT 1.7.7, and it'll be available in 1.8 as well. So we can actually upload a second session here. Let's grab this pet from the same subject and upload that as well. And our first MR has been imported. We can go ahead and open that. And keep in mind that, again, this is a resource-intensive process. I've given this VM 8 gigs of RAM, and so that gives the Docker server some room to play with. But these sessions have a series of scans. You've just created a bunch of containers all at once, and on a lower performing system that can bog things down a little bit. So you do want to be careful about how many of these actions you run at once, and be cognizant of what your processing load is, what your server is capable of. In the more advanced container service course, we'll get into the DevOps required to set up a Docker Swarm scenario and be able to do a better job of parceling out these jobs. But we can see here that, and this is good news, we've got DICOM to Nifty running on every one of these scans as they archived. It's just simple as that. I didn't have to touch anything. As the project owner, I just get to upload data and not really worry about it. reload our history table, and look, they're all done. That's exciting. So we can see there are nifty resources in each of our scans. We can also go and check out the pet session to see how that one's doing. And that one also ran DICOM to nifty. So that is how you run automated commands in XNAT 1.7 realm. In the next demo, we'll talk about doing the same thing in XNAT 1.8 with the event service. And it's much more sophisticated and a little bit more fun to play with.